always make sure like the brands that we work with are I can relate to, just to make it authentic. And then so that includes like content shoots. So if they need content for their Instagram, we do photo shoots or product shoots. We do behind the scenes of their events. We create graphics. We look at their entire brand and see what they're trying to tell on social media in a whole. Like, what are you trying to do? What kind of story are you trying to convey? Like, who's your ideal client? What are you, like, who are you about? And so we just really dig deep into what they're trying to represent. And then from there, we build on like their emails and their Instagram and their Facebook and website and all that kind of stuff. And then of course we do events for women monthly, just supporting local businesses and just bringing girls together to network and meet each other and hopefully potentially use their talents. And everyone that I invite to my events, eventually like they all end up working together or they use them for something, which is the main reason why I like to host them. Yeah, the Hummingbird goes back to like, so a couple of years ago, I lost my mom to breast cancer. And during like the first couple of years, you know, like going through all of that and losing her, I started getting like seeing symbols of a hummingbird. During the time that my mom passed away, we had to bring her back to Costa Rica because originally that's where I'm from. When people pass away, you have like 7 days of mourning. So you just go and people come and they like say their condolences and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, on the last day that the day before my sister and I were going to be coming back to Florida, we're just sitting in the living room and we're just talking and we have flowers over there for her. And I see a little hummingbird just like fly into the room and land on her favorite flower that we actually like picked from my farm in Costa Rica. It's birds of paradise. I don't know if you have seen those before, but they look like a little bird. I look at the hummingbird and I'm like, oh, that's weird. I'm like, we live in the coldest part of town. There is like not really a reason for a hummingbird to be here. It's like really rare for us to see that. I'm like, okay, so maybe it's just a coincidence, a little bird. Okay, so I walk up to it and it doesn't move. It just stays still. And I'm like, this feels like different. This feels, I don't know, it just felt like really peaceful. And for once that week, I felt like everything was going to be okay. Don't really read a lot of books on social media. I just think that they're just a little bit like black and white. But I do a lot of like research on Pinterest actually. Like if you have this is just one tip, I have another one, but Pinterest is amazing. Like if I ever have a question about something that has to do with social media, I just put it in the search guide and then a whole bunch of blogs come up. So I love to go back and just read about social media blogs that people are posting because they're relevant, they're real, and they're like from a real person. But my favorite one, and I'm sure you guys have heard of it, is Planoly. And I use this as like a planning app for my Instagram grids. But they also have a blog. And on there they have a thing called the Social Sphere. And it's like everything that's up to date right now with TikTok, Pinterest, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, like all the things that are new and coming up in the social world. So I try to go on there like once to twice a month because they only post it like here and there, and just like spend 20 minutes researching and reading about it. And then if I can't like get everything that I need from there, I go to Pinterest and just go down the rabbit hole of like searching and just reading a whole bunch of like, I specify to the question that I have. Yeah, social media right now is like one of the most popular ways for you to connect through your business. But I always say this, like, number one, what are you trying to tell, or what story are you trying to tell your audience? Like, who is your audience and what are you trying to represent? Then, like, once you have an understanding of what you're trying to represent and who your ideal client is, that's when you can start creating and curating content for whatever it is that you want to do. And it's different for every business. Like, you know, if you're a photographer, you're going to curate different content. If you're an event planner, it's going to be different. So just finding what story you're trying to tell, and then how to, you know, curate content for that kind of specific audience. I think social media is super personal, and I think that it's, a mix of things and a mix of ways that you can connect with businesses, with people, everyone that is looking at your page. So I think for sure, just stand out and make it different, and don't listen to don't compare yourself to any other Instagram, to anybody who has 20,000 followers when you're first starting out. You're like, oh, it's my first month of my business and my Instagram. I just started my account. I only have 10 followers. Well, there's people who have years and years of having their Instagram, and they still don't reach the high number. So just forget about the number. I've been getting a lot of, okay, I need to have TikTok, I need to have Pinterest, I need to have LinkedIn, Facebook, and they start naming all of these things. And I'm like, wait, calm down. You just start with one channel at a time and really focus your energy on getting one started. And then start moving forward and thinking about later down the line, okay, I'm ready to start a TikTok, or ready to, start my blog or my Pinterest. But I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions is you have to have every single social media channel to be relevant or for your business to work, and you don't. It's better for you to have one that's solid and that you're focusing on and that's successful, versus having 5 and you're not really engaging in or getting any kind of feedback from that.
I have a question.
Okay.
Hi Mela, how are you?
Hi.
How are you? Any advice on crisis communication that you might give? Have you had any instances in any of your clients or any work that you've done that might, or situation kind of like this pandemic, on how to handle your brand on social media in terms of crisis communication?
Yeah, I think sometimes less is more. I think that during these times, everyone's dealing with it differently, and everyone's going to be sensitive to it in a different way. So I think just being sensitive to everyone's situation and not over posting or over talking about it. And then just being careful with your words and just being sensitive to the situation with everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you had a question, right, Yahi? Yeah,
I did. First off, thank you, Creative Babes, for hosting this. So fun. Also, it's so nice to meet you. I've actually stalked your page before. Christina actually showed it to me. But this is months ago back, and I was like, oh my gosh, this girl is so cute. She's out there doing her own thing. And I was stalking your page, and I'm like, wow, I want to do something like that. So it's really awesome to meet you, virtually.
Oh, nice to meet you. Hi.
But question, so how did you kind of prepare yourself to make that leap? I know I missed the beginning of the call, but some people are always oh, I do want to do this, or I want to start my own company. So how did you mentally and financially prepare for that? If you did, kind of how you actually took the leap.
I have forever always felt like I wanted to have something of my own. Growing up, my mom was a chef, so my mom's like, you know what, I'm gonna start my own restaurant. So she opened a restaurant, and then they started doing having their own businesses. So I knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to have something of my own. I just didn't know what exactly it was going to be. And I think honestly what pushed me was just seeing how much the people around me were suffering, my friends and my family. I wasn't able to hang out with my husband, or I was always stressed out. When I would get home, I would just always be stressed. But what good is it to be working if you're not healthy and if you can't function? So I think that just, being scared of getting sick and just working myself sick really pushed me. Sadly, it wasn't a thing where I was oh, I'm ready to start my business. I think I was just ready to get healthy. I didn't really prepare financially for it, but okay, so I know I have income for at least these next 3 months. Am I going to work during these next 3 months? No, I'm not. I'm going to just take it easy. I'm going to think about what I want to do. So I said to myself, okay, I need to make a change, and what I'm going to do has to be something that I can control, a schedule that I like. And so that's kind of how I started.
Awesome.
Thank you. That was a good question. Thank you, Hira.
Does anybody have any more questions for Miss Mela?
Okay, so when you were kind of in the process of thinking about what you wanted to do after you left your job, were there any books that you read that kind of put you in the right headspace or gave you ideas towards creating Social Hummingbird?
Yes, I'm really happy you asked that question because this book changed my life. And I was actually reading this book before I left my job, and it's called Grace, Not Perfection. And it's by Emily Lee. If I can recommend any book, this book is like so life-changing. It basically talks about giving yourself grace and stop trying to be perfect in your life. She started selling postcards on Etsy, and she was trying to get pregnant, and she was so stressed and overworked. She was working a corporate job. She's like, I can't do this. I'm not getting pregnant. It's because I'm stressed. So she started selling stuff on Etsy. And then from there, she started making notebooks, and then she started making planners. And now she makes like millions of planners and sells planners all over the world. And she's a super successful person. But she said that if she didn't feel like the way I felt, where I was like, I'm getting sick, I'm working myself sick, I felt like if I had to get to that point, to the bottom of like, this is the worst feeling ever, to really realize that, okay, there's nowhere else I can go from here than up. Like I'm already at the bottom. So what am I going to do to get better? And now she has like 3 books, and it's really an amazing story. So I would really recommend that book. That one actually was a huge inspiration for me.
Does anyone else have any other questions?
See.
I think I did have one other thing that I'm curious about. So for businesses and influencers currently in this situation that we're in now, what are some great ways to connect and support brands authentically?
I think for businesses and influencers, so for influencers, it's definitely just reaching out to the people that you already know, and just seeing how you can help them. I think influencers are so important these days, and like can really make such a big difference if used, the right way. So I think just reaching out to the people that you do know and just saying like, hey, how can I help you? What can I do to help you during this situation right now? Can I write a blog post about you? Can I share you on my stories? How can I serve you? And see what they say. You're going to be surprised, but I feel like a lot of people are going to appreciate that. And then once, this is a little bit better, or once it's over, they're going to think about how you help them during this time for free, because you're doing this to serve. You're not doing this to sell. Again, you have to do things sometimes just to serve your community instead of like always selling yourself.
Yeah, I love that, especially considering the service aspect of it. We have to give a little to get a little, right?
I mean, that's what social media is about. It's about building community and getting to know people and helping each other. And at the same time, like, people are going to recognize that about you, and they're going to want to be a part of what you're doing, because you're not just doing things for yourself. So I always believe that. And actually our hashtag is be a social light. Like, you don't have to be like a social light, like, famous. You just share your light, share your positivity on Instagram and help people out. Like, you can't do it physically, so it's the best way to do it is, right now digitally is the best way you can help people. So just try your best to do that.
I love that. I think that's a wonderful way to end this, is on this beautiful note. I love that hashtag.
Well, really quick before everyone logs off and, we all say bye, I just wanted to, just thank everybody, and thank you, Creative Babes, for having me today. And I'm really so thankful to be here and sharing some of my stuff. I hope that it helped.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for being the first interview. Thank you.
Yeah, I think this went great for our first one. Thanks everybody for joining us. Really appreciate it. We've got some awesome other guests coming, so stay tuned and check out our Instagram as we announce more stuff. Thank you, Mela, so much. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.